Please subscribe, like, and share. It really helps us out. And of course, if you have any questions, comment below and we will answer you as soon as we can.
If you are like me and not much of a shopper, I recently found a much more interesting way to pass the time whilst being dragged from store to store. It's really simple to play, but much more difficult than it sounds. It's not really a game, more like a challenge. The challenge is to find as many things as you can that were not made in China. Any visit to a department store and you will soon find that almost everything from clothes to household items is made in China, the manufacturing capital of the world. Whilst this may be of no surprise to you, in fact I hope it's not, as you are all young aspiring economists, do you really know why they all are? What is it about China that makes firms from all over the world choose to produce there? The main answer to this question is actually very simple. It's cheap. Super cheap. As a result, firms are able to cut their production costs dramatically, and this in turn allows them to increase supply. With an increase in supply, firms reduce their prices, meaning that consumers all over the world all benefit from the cheap production that China has to offer. There are many reasons why China is able to offer firms such low production costs. One is the cost of labour. Labour means the people who work, and in China wages are much lower compared with most Western countries. The labour force, meaning all the people who are able to work, is also huge, mostly thanks to China's massive population of over 1.4 million people. Other reasons include the costs of renting land, costs of third-party services such as delivery and transport, and the favourable tax rates. All of these combined have made China a haven for cheap production, and it's no surprise that it has become the factory of the world. Okay, now it's time to think like an economist. Firstly, what is meant by the term labour force? Secondly, explain a likely reason why the price of labour is cheaper in China compared to the USA. Thirdly, China is the world's largest exporter of goods. Analyse the possible reasons why this is the case. And a bonus question, why did China's exports increase so dramatically in the 1980s? Firstly, what is meant by the term labour force? The labour force refers to the total number of people in an economy who are either employed or actively seeking employment. It includes all individuals over a certain age, usually the legal working age, who are capable and willing to work. In other words, it represents the pool of available workers, both skilled and unskilled, who can contribute to the production of goods and services. Secondly, explain a likely reason why the price of labour is cheaper in China compared to the USA. The price of labour in China is generally lower than the USA due to several factors. Firstly, the supply of labour. China's large population contributes to a substantial labour force, which increases the supply of workers. With a high supply of labour, wages tend to be lower as there is more competition amongst workers for jobs. Secondly, the cost of living. The cost of living in China, whilst rising, is still lower than the USA, meaning that workers can accept lower wages relative to American workers, as it can still meet their cost of living needs. Thirdly, the economic structure and wage standards. China's economy historically centers on manufacturing and export-orientated industries maintains a lower wage standard than service-orientated economies like the USA. This is partly due to a nation's focus on remaining competitive globally by offering low-cost labour. Lastly, labour regulations. Labour laws and protections may differ between China and the USA, leading to differences in minimum wages, benefits, and worker protections. In many cases, looser regulations keep labour costs down. Thirdly, China is the world's largest exporter of goods. Analyse the possible reasons why this is the case. Several factors have contributed to China becoming the world's largest exporter of goods. Firstly, low production costs. As mentioned, China offers low labour, land and operational costs, making it attractive for manufacturing. Firms from all over the world benefit from reduced production costs by setting up operations in China. Secondly, economies of scale. Due to its massive manufacturing infrastructure and large-scale production capabilities, China achieves economies of scale. By producing in high volumes, Chinese manufacturers can lower per unit costs, making goods cheaper for export. Thirdly, advanced supply chain networks. China has developed extensive, efficient supply chains and logistic networks that streamline production and distribution. This infrastructure enables quick manufacturing and exportation, giving an advantage over other countries. Fourthly, government policies. The Chinese government has historically supported export-led growth by offering tax incentives, subsidies, and favourable trade policies to encourage manufacturing and exports. Free trade zones and favourable terms with trade partners also boost export activity. Lastly, their currency policy. China's management of its currency, the yuan, often keeps it at a relatively low value. This makes Chinese goods cheaper and more attractive to foreign buyers, further stimulating exports. Now it's time for the bonus question. Why did China's exports increase so dramatically in the 1980s? China's export surge in the 1980s can be attributed to economic reforms introduced by then-leader Deng Xiaoping. These reforms marked China's transition from a closed, centrally planned economy to a more open, market-orientated one. Key aspects include, firstly, an open-door policy. China opened its doors to foreign investment, encouraging international firms to set up manufacturing operations in the country, leading to a rise in production and exports. Secondly, special economic zones. The establishment of special economic zones provided a business-friendly environment with tax incentives, reduced tariffs, and less stringent regulations. This attracted foreign investors and manufacturers, fostering an export-driven growth model. Thirdly, a shift to market reforms. By moving from strict government controls to a more market-driven economy, China enhanced productivity, efficiency, and competition in its industries, which helped to expand its export base. These policies collectively made China a central player in global manufacturing and export markets, setting the stage for a rapid growth in exports from the 1980s onwards.
Thank you for watching our video. Please like, subscribe and share. And comment below so we can clarify things for you.